Carbide Saws and Burnett Limited. So both companies are co-located here. Carbide Saws is the parent company. It was started in 1957. We primarily sharpen and repair carbide tip tool of all sorts. Saw blades, initially, that was what we got started out with. But as the industry developed, router bits became a much larger part of what we service. Carbide tip router bits, CNC, up spiral, down spiral, combination, all of that sort of stuff. It's what we handle here. Burnett Limited is a sister company, and they sell various brands of a carbide tip tool. So they sell basically what Carbide Saws service. Depending on the blade, they can be quite expensive. The plates can be. So having the ability to repair and retip those offers the customer some affordability options. It all depends on scale. It depends on the blade and the plate. You can have some plates and blades that are upwards of $600 for industrial, and they may be running dozens of those. So you scale that up and you might be able to save thousands of dollars, depending on your segment. They're smaller. We have what's called commercial grade blades, which aren't necessarily designed to be repaired. They're disposable, for lack of a better term, but some of those can be repaired and serviced as well. The longevity of the plates are just not going to be there like an industrial plate would be. So from shipping and receiving, initial inspection, we'll get carried to the rough room, what we call the rough room, and that's where our tools go for more cleaning, further inspection, any kind of preliminary work before they come back here for finishing work. You can see over here, we've got some that are getting staged to be cleaned. And what they'll do is we'll soak them in this tank with just some warm water and sodium phosphate. We found that works really well. It prevents any kind of rust on the blades while we wait to do any work with them. After that, the blades will get scrubbed. We've got a sonic cleaner. We also have a tumbler in our other room for drill bits. But after we get everything cleaned from here, we'll get an opportunity to inspect it a little bit better. Because as you can see, with these, as dirty as these are, sometimes it can be difficult to see what kind of shape the teeth are in, what kind of shape the plates are in. So once we get those cleaned, it'll get a little bit more thorough inspection. And from there, we'll determine if it needs to be repaired. The repair work will go over here to our brazier. And there we can repair shoulders. We can weld new shoulders into the plates. We can retip, which is where we knock all the tips out of it. And we put in a whole new set of tips, and that's as close as we can do to remanufacturing a saw that you can get. Otherwise, if it's repair work, it's a similar process. It'll still go over there, whatever tips or repairs that need to be done with it. And again, that's for all the type of tools, not just saw blades, but router bits, drill bits, whatever else we might have. So when the blades get done with the cleaning, they'll come out here. And this is our Smith or fighter, who I think he's probably gone and hid since he knew video was coming. But this is our Smither station right here. This is where a fighter will do any kind of repairs to the blades. If they're bent, any shoulders that are out of whack. It's getting to be a lost art. You don't see a whole lot of places that still have folks that can do that sort of stuff. That also helps us to ensure that blades run true. Any vibrations, wobbles, things that they either get through normal use, like you hit something with a blade, or you may run it too fast or too slow. It can warp the blade. And here's where they get inspected for that, any wobbles, any dents, and he'll hammer those, snip those back into shape as best as we can. And from there, we'll go and finish the brazing and the repair work that gets done on any of them. That's tough to say. Sometimes we have blades that cut better than when they came from the factory. After they come through here and they get serviced and retip, trying to put a number on that's awfully difficult. So once we get smithed and brazed and repair work done on it, we'll go through, we'll either send the blade back to the tub to be cleaned again. We'll sandblast it before it goes out to the finishing room, or glass bead it. They also have the glass beater. And that just depends on the tool and how aggressively we need to clean it as to whether we use glass bead or sandblast with aluminum oxide, or some blades that are particularly clean, they might not require either of those. And once that's done, they bring it over to our polisher, which is this old beast right here. This is where we polish the blades, which how it operates. Put a blade down there, we'll run our wheel back and forth across it. From the ref room to the finishing room, you can see we've got more automated machines out here, which we use to do a couple of different operations to the saw blade. Right here, these stations, this is what we have called paste grinders. I've got an oil-based and a water-based paste grinder. You can go around here, you can probably get a better view of it. Whether it's oil or water-based, they both do the same thing. And the purpose of this, you can see, is just taking and grinding off the face of the carbide tip tooth, and it advances around the blade, and it just cleans it up, gives it a nice flat surface. And you can see over here, you can see where there's a repair. This is a tooth that has been repaired. You can see it's a little bit wider. It looks a little bit different than the other teeth. And that's what we do over here, is we machine all the teeth down to the same size. And this is a good segue to the next operation, which is called side grinding. And that's these machines over here. Again, I've got an oil-based and a water-based side grinder. There are some advantages and disadvantages to each, but primarily the difference is really more manufacturing technique and how it's changed over the years. The water-based machines are older. There are certain advantages. They're much simpler. They're more robust. It's kind of like an old Mercedes diesel. It just keeps on plugging. The oil-based machines tend to be a little more computerized. Ours here aren't all CNC, but they still have some computerization functions with them. But again, the big difference is just age and the change in the manufacturing process over the year. This machine right here, I'll open it up and I put a saw on here to demonstrate how the side grinding process is done. And you can see we've got a tooth up there that's teed up. It hasn't been side ground. And I can just start it out, start the process. I want to show how it's done. And so the goal of this machine is we try to match the cost of the existing teeth that are already in there. Or if it's a retip, the customer will specify how wide they want their cuts to be, and we'll side grind it to whatever their desired cutting width is. That's what this process is for right here. We'll typically go through, do a couple of cuts like that where I can get a measurement, and we'll take a side measurement of it on each side. Compare that to each other, center it up, and I compare it to the existing teeth that are in there. And I just adjust the machine to get that to be as close to match as we can. Or I'm just doing this for demo purposes. And we'll just keep grinding it until we get it right. Okay, so once we get done matching the curves to the customer specs or whatever the saw calls for, we'll take it over here for the final grinding operation. What we have over here are top grinders, and I'll go back and I'll show you the teeth over there, how they stick up. It'll be a little bit easier to show, but these machines right here, they will go and they'll grind the top of the tooth to whatever profile the customer or the job calls for. On the side of here, all the different profiles that this machine's programmed to be able to grind the top of the tip to. And that's, again, this machine and this machine are both top grinders. He also has two face grinders, so he can face the teeth over here as well. And that's the operation as it goes with saw blades. With some of the more specialized tooling over here, I mentioned we've got various kinds of drill bits and router bits over here. And then over here is where we sharpen a lot of the different miscellaneous stuff doesn't fit on the mainline production. So your router bits, drill bits, auger inserts, you name it. And from there, the tool goes back to shipping, where we dip the blades. You can go over here and you can see we're dipping them right now. And that's the final process. This just helps protect the carbide once it's been machined, and also protects anybody that's handling the blades, because these are, even a dull blade will cut you up pretty good. Your hands get pretty cut up. But that protects the tool and people handling it. And from there, we ship it out. Either our salesman will deliver to the areas that we service, which currently it's Virginia. We have some routes around to Tennessee, South Carolina, and of course, North Carolina. But otherwise, if it's beyond that area, a lot of folks will just ship them in via UPS or mail, U.S. Postal Service.
For your free quote today.